Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This one, the title was shortened for, but it's actually a little bit of a song, and you might know part of it. It's Slinky, it's Slinky, it's too much fun for a boy, instead of it's fun for a girl and a boy. Well, it has to do with Slinkies. Here we go. Probably about 1982. This goes back to, I was 3 years old, could have been 83. I was 4 years old, I don't know. I was really, really young and didn't understand. I had a metal Slinky. They used to make them out of metal instead of out of plastic. Anyway, I would play with it and it would go down the step and then fall over, and then I'd do it again, and it never walked down the steps, and I never understood why, and maybe I was doing it wrong, or maybe I just had shitty ones, or I don't know. But I also learned that you can't stretch it out, because if you do that, it's bad. But one day, I vaguely seem to remember this to be the case, a neighbor came over. This was back in the day when you could ring the doorbell and say, "Oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm not doing anything. Please come on in. Oh, let's have coffee. Let's talk, And you'd sit down. So sometimes a neighbor would come over and my mother would put on coffee and they would talk, and like 3 hours would go by. So I'd be milling around in the kitchen and this and that. Well, as the mother gets talking to the other person, they forget about the kids. So I went and I found my Slinky, and I found myself in my childhood home in the Florida room. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I decided it would be a good idea to see what happened at 3 or 4 years old if Mr. Slinky met Mrs. Electrical Socket. I was a young kid, and I was unsupervised. Okay? So we can blame this squarely on my mother, because young kids will get into anything. So we can blame this squarely on my mother. What else is new? I don't know how I did it exactly. I guess I got one end of it and happened to get lucky enough to put it in the hot side. And the other one, I must have touched the metal cover plate on the outlet, because that's when it happened. Now, I had a memory of this, and I'm going to go by that because that's what it felt like. We had 120 volts going through me as a very young kid. And it was probably both hands, because you don't have the fine motor skills and all that shit. So I'm guessing it was both hands, so that means it went across the heart. That's bad. I guess I was able to let go in time. That's good. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. But it felt to me, it felt exactly like this. That I plug it into the socket, however you want to articulate that. The entire room filled up, floor to about a foot down from the ceiling. The entire room was fire. And I was laying on my stomach on top of the fire. That is what the memory told me when I was 3 or 4 years old, or whatever it was. Obviously, that never happened because that's impossible. It may have shot some sparks out. That's definitely possible. But I remember fire bringing me up to the ceiling. Like it floated me up to the ceiling. And then I felt, crash, boom, when I hit the floor. Obviously, that's not what happened. It was exactly what it is. A kid stuck a metal slinky in the electrical socket and electrocuted himself. And I screamed immediately, either let go or maybe thank fuck I was only touching the cover plate. And when you immediately get that, they say you can't let go, but you move because the electricity, and that broke the circuit, and there you go. I cried for a while after that, as you might expect, and I learned that certain people shouldn't meet other people. Certain things shouldn't meet other things. Yeah, I had to learn that one the hard way. It did not prevent me from blowing myself up many other times in life. I don't like when that happens today. Geez, I can't remember the last time it did. Oh, it wasn't a bad one. It was when I got some incandescent bulbs and the socket thing that I rigged up, the outlet thing, I kept getting shocked from, and it turns out it's the way I wired it plus the little plug to socket adapter. I got a 50-50 shot of getting that right. I really ought to meter that and just put a mark on it so I know where it plugs in the right way so it won't happen, but I'm not going to do that. But those were just little shocks. That was nothing. The last time I seriously blew myself up was, I think, when the light switch in the kitchen went out and I went to replace it. And I was real smart about it too, because I went and I traced the circuit and I shut off the breaker for that and confirmed that it was off, not by trying to turn the light on, but because there's an outlet next to it, only to learn that the lights were on a different socket, on a different circuit. So that was the last time I blew myself up. And that was going, shit, I don't even remember now. That's got to be 5, 6, 7 years ago. Something like that. It hasn't happened in a while, and I'm glad it hasn't, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Because that wasn't fun. That certainly wasn't fun. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for that one. So that's why I said Slinky, it's too much fun for a boy. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.